I'm Dr. Kimberly Manning.
And this is Dr. Ashley McMullen. And you're listening to the Human Doctor Podcast, where we explore the human side of medicine, along with teaching, living, learning, and all things in between. Using the power of storytelling, conversation, and connectedness.
Hey, we're two dope academic internal medicine doctors, but we ain't your doctors. So if you perceive anything we say here as medical advice, no, it ain't that. Also, the things we say, they only reflect our brilliant Black woman magic mind and not our employers.
You could have been anywhere, y'all, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate you. Let's go.
Yeah.
We made it.
We made it. Yep.
Last episode of the season.
Yep. Last episode of the season. How many episodes do we have in the season? I should know this, but
15.
15.
Yes.
Each season, 15 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot, man.
Do the math.
Yeah. And shout out to people that like when we release an episode, not on the regular release day, that like be right on the ready to listen. Shout out. I'm looking at you, Gurpreet, Jolie, Tanya,
Dermot McCoy.
Dermot. Yep. Yep. Man, that's pretty cool. So
Yep.
Somebody's rocking with us, man.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how you doing on this sunny afternoon?
I am a 4.6 today.
Okay.
I just completed my stint on the inpatient service at Grady Memorial Hospital. Finished that up, and I've mentioned this before, but I have this thing that I go through sometimes when people are like really sick and vulnerable, that I feel like I'm abandoning them when I leave the hospital service. And I had a patient that I was taking care of who had a lot of well-earned trust issues with the healthcare system. And we had just built such a great therapeutic alliance, me and her family. And I was rounding on Monday and told her that Tuesday would be my last day. And the way that she started to cry just broke my heart into a million trillion pieces. Yes. So I was left her room and I was walking through the hallway and I was waiting for the elevator, and one of the PharmDs that I love, it's like, "Hey, Dr. Manning, how are you doing today?" And for some reason, she was standing there too long, and I just started boo-hoo crying. She's like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Man.
That brought me down a little bit, but yeah, you can't grieve a loss if you haven't loved. So
Exactly. I was going to say there's a lot of love and trust there.
Yeah, man. So that brought me down a little bit, but it's all good.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm. How you doing?
I'm like a 4.7. So for context, I am now back in California, back in my home office after a whirlwind travel experience over the last couple weeks. And, it's my last month of the sabbatical. So I've been slowly trying to, smooth the road back into my work life. And for anybody who works at the VA, if you try to go more than like 2 weeks without logging in to their system, they will drop you like a bad habit. So I have been spending a lot of time on the phone with IT, trying to reestablish my accounts. Yeah.
I love it. So what's going on with Mahalia right now?
Mahalia is in some 2-strand twists that are home spun.
Okay.
But we're gearing up for a yoga retreat starting tomorrow in Lake Tahoe for Black women and femmes, which I am really excited about. So
I love how crunchy you are. You're so crunchy. It's so,
yeah.
I love that about it. That's great. You telling the person who barely can touch her toes. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's good stuff. Sounds fun.
I was that person, I'm not even close to the most flexible, but I found a yoga studio that really is welcoming for all levels.
That's what's up.
I
love that. Well, Jules has been in a little bit of a well, let me see. What should I call it? A little wrestling match slash standoff with the BHE, because the BHE, best husband ever, he likes my hair short, but he doesn't like it extremely short. His preference, I shouldn't say doesn't like it. He likes me, so he likes whatever. But his preference, he likes it when when it's like a bang or kind of longer on the top, but short all over, but just, sort of like a short version of like the Beatles or something,
Okay. Okay.
And he'll show me pictures of things. Oh, do you like this? This will look good on you. But he always shows me things that do not line up with the texture of my hair. My hair is not fine at all. It is very, very, very thick. And I realized that I was buying a lot of product to like make my hair look flatter, because that's how I like my hair. It's because I want it shorter. So I got a haircut today, as you can see.
Yes, I love it.
She's very short. She's exactly how I love her. And I told my husband that I have cut my hair shorter than he'd like, but I have been trying to find something that he liked that I loved too. So now my hair is in a way that I love it. Guess what his response was? I'm all like freaked out, because we're very like we do weigh in on each other's appearance, because we're like, you know what? We life partners. We get a little say in each other, whatever.
Yeah.
He says, the most important thing to me is that you feel amazing. Love you. That was his. And I was like, what? Like, I thought he was going to say something like, it's your head, do what you want to do.
Wow.
The most important thing to me is that you feel amazing, or that you like it, or that you love it, or that you feel you love how you, something he said, and then followed by love you, to let me know that this was not sarcasm or snark.
Yeah.
So I have decided that I will keep him.
Okay, good. Good.
Sometimes we get really worked up about things, and the people that love us, they just want us to be okay. I like that.
That is really good.
I have a recommendation.
Tell me.
Did you ever read Remarkably Bright Creatures?
I've heard of it, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
It's a great read. Loved the book. Fantastic. So when you read a book and it's fantastic, and then you turn on Netflix or whatever, and they have adapted it to a movie, you are like, womp, womp, womp. Except they cast Sally Field in this role. And when I say she hit home plate 3 times with the bat, swung and knocked it out into the rafters, she's gonna get nominated for something. It was absolutely outstanding. I know the book. I know exactly what happens in the book. I was weeping.
Wow.
It was very well done. It is so well done. And when I heard that it was made into a movie, it involves an octopus. And I guess I'm assuming a lot that was artificial intelligence that they did that with. It was really, really, really well done.
Is your recommendation that everybody read the book or listen to the book first?
Oh, I don't know. I almost feel like if you're a person who reads books, read the book. But if you're not a person who reads books, are you kind of like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other when it comes to a book? Versus, I would say I like the idea of reading the book and the movie, and then comparing the two. Sometimes I do one first before the other. It doesn't matter. The only other thing that I think I've ever seen a made into screen that was like really, 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 really well done was Little Fires Everywhere. Those are short series. That was on Hulu. I love the book Little Fires Everywhere, and that short series was outstanding. Yeah, it was really, and it had Kerry Washington in it, who I generally am annoyed by in most things. Because of the expression on her face, like
No, not Olivia Pope. Come on now.
Olivia Pope always looked like, she smelled something rotten to me. I don't know why. And then she looks cute on the red carpet, but like her expressions, they're cringy to me. But she did the damn thing with that book. That adaptation of that book.
Okay.
And now actually so did especially Reese Witherspoon, because I think Reese Witherspoon was the engine behind it going to screen. And I picked up the book originally because it was like one of Reese Witherspoon's book club books.
Mm-hmm.
So she obviously loved the book, but she was excellent too.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of excellent reads, I did pick up on one of your other recommendations. So I finally started Kin by Tiari Jones.
Oh gosh, it's about time.
I know. I'm almost done. I have to say, one of the best reads of the year thus far. She's so good at illustrating relationships and all the complexities there. And then of course, I wasn't ready for the queer subtext in there.
Spoiler, that's a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, it's Pride Month. Y'all gonna get it anyway.
That's right. Happy Pride Month, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for Pride Month, is Happy Pride Month directed toward the LGBTQIA plus community? So like if I see you and I go, hey, Happy Pride Month, is that like kind of icky and microaggression-y for me to say it to you as a straight?
As a straight.
A cishet straight.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, really, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, speaking from personal experiences, of course, we're not a monolith, so I'm not speaking on behalf of the entire community. I think I think more the former. Like, I think it is something special specifically within the LGBTQIA plus community, and it is a celebration of us and our existence.
Okay.
At the same time, everybody can appreciate the value that pride represents, which is love who you love, and own that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, kings, queens, non-binary, royalty, and people who don't identify as any of those three. We are here now to do the thing that I know is the thing you really been wanting to do. And you know how they say, save the best for last? Well, literally, that is what is about to happen, because this is the last episode of season 10. Because we have been consistent with being podcasters. Shout out to us. But especially shout out to our executive producer who doubles as a host and now getting on the mic as the storyteller. None other than the Ashley McMullen with Two Strand Twists, done with her own hands.
Yeah. Well, correction, they were done with my partner's hands. So shout out to her.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Shout out to your partner, whose name I don't know, but I ain't trying to put your business out there. Okay. What's the what, sis?
The what is Journey.
Journey.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking of Just a Small Town Girl.
I knew it. God, I knew you were going to do that.
Living in the lonely world. That's literally the first thing I thought.
I figured.
Don't stop believing. Ooh. Come on.
Yeah, it's a nostalgic song in the context of what I'm about to share with you.
Which is not that.
Which is not that. I'm thinking specifically about these last several months of the sabbatical that I've had. And so I was trying to think of like a singular story or something that kind of captures what these last few months have meant to me. And of course, I couldn't think of one. So I'm going to share a series of kind of micro stories with you as we kind of go along this journey of what I've learned over the last few months. So these are just a few moments that stood out for me that were really, really memorable. And starting with the Houston Marathon. Okay. As many of you guys know, I did the Houston Full Marathon in January of this year, which is 26.2 miles throughout the city that I claim as home. And I had been training for that race for about 4 months. It was my first full marathon. And literally up until probably last year, it had never crossed my mind that that was something that I could even do. For the weeks leading up to it, I remember having a lot of anxiety and anticipation about the weather, about my times, about being in shape, about any number of catastrophic things that could happen. And, really all I was looking forward to was just finishing. And I thought that was going to be the most triumphant thing. But when I look back on the race, the greatest moment for me was actually the start line.
Okay.
And I had been specifically dreading that, because usually at the start of the race, you're having to line up. It's cold outside. It's dark. There's all the nerves.
Mm-hmm.
You're having to wait a long time for the race to get started. And I spent the night in downtown Houston. I stayed at a hotel with my best friend. Shout out to Amanda.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Yes. Got up on time, had my coffee, had my carbs, said a little prayer, got ready. And when I walked outside up to the start line, it was just tens of thousands of people. And it was just me. I wasn't running the race with anybody else. And the feeling that I felt, the best word I could use to describe it was euphoric. I felt so grateful that I could even be there to start. And at that point, just being at the start line, nothing else really mattered. I wasn't really worried about the time or, the weather, which happened to turn out great. I was just so happy to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one of the things that I learned from that experience, which was a great experience, was just a love for process over outcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been so fixated on what the outcome was going to be that I really hadn't taken as much time to appreciate the process that even got me to that start line. And once I was there, I felt that I had truly kind of arrived at my sabbatical season, starting with something that at one point I didn't think I could ever do.
Love it.
And so, I got to do that and have it done with my family there. It was an incredible experience. So after I checked that giant box, I made my way down to Hawaii and Honolulu, where I posted up for several weeks. And one of the unexpected things that came out of that experience was how hard it was to relax.
Mm.
In this paradise, I'm staying with my friend, I had all these expectations of what it was going to feel, especially, being now kind of in that second month of the sabbatical. I kind of put all these expectations on myself of all the things I was going to write and read and kind of produce. It was hard to give myself permission to just rest. And we talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
Rest as a form of resistance, rest as a form of reparations. And so much of that is kind of resetting our mindset around our relationship to what it means to be productive. Along with that, I was also trying to adjust myself to just existing in the world outside of my identity as a doctor. And I think that, or having an identity that has proximity to power, and then putting that aside and trying to just be without, that kind of security was also hard.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly in a place where I was staying, a more residential area of Hawaii, where it is a little bit more predominantly white and Asian, there wasn't a lot of folks like me.
Mm-hmm.
And having to contend with that sense of non-belonging without the security of having that professional identity.
Right. Word, there's a protection in the professional identity.
Mm-hmm. There's this one moment that was a pivot point for me. I was sitting on the Ala Moana beach and I was staring out at the water, and I kept seeing in the distance this kind of shadowy figure. At first it looked like someone was maybe snorkeling, but I kept staring, waiting for them to eventually come up out of the water, and they never did. And so I kept looking, and I would lose track, and then the figure would just disappear. And this happened at least 3 times. And I was like looking around, I was just like, okay, nobody else seems to notice or be bothered by this. Finally, like I just kind of put it out of mind. And then I eventually got in the water and I was just kind of wading out up to kind of my chest. And there was this couple, they were Asian on the shore, older couple. And they were like yelling something in a language I didn't understand and were kind of like it looked like they were pointing to me. And I was just like, oh God, microaggression loading. Like, let's see what this is going to be about. But then I realized they weren't actually pointing at me, they were pointing past me. And so I turn around to see what they're pointing at, and there is a giant sea turtle whose head is like bobbing and cresting the surface. And that's the figure that I saw. And I look back at them and they're like smiling and like I'm smiling. And then we're just like both pointing and like cheering. We can't understand what each other is saying, but it's just like this shared moment of excitement for
And now you
nature.
could really see what it was. It was closer to you.
Exactly. I could see it. And it was so incredible. But being able to share that with other humans was really special. And it was just, again, it was a reminder of being human and human connection out in the world. And that was something that, kind of helped ground me and help me relax and enjoy, the rest of my time in Hawaii. After Hawaii, I went to Australia, as you know, another international solo travel experience. For me, I think solo travel is another way of just seeing myself as a human in the world. And then I got to connect with our longtime podcast fan, Dr. McCoy. One of the things that I learned, or at least I kind of was able to embrace, was that, people want to host. People want to have you in their space. And like, people can be kind without expecting anything from you. And the way that he opened his home to me and his family, once again, was just so special. But I think one of the best moments of that time in Australia was actually getting to shadow Diarmuid at his job.
Okay.
I was flying out that afternoon and I needed a ride to the airport, but had a couple hours before my flight. And Diarmuid, of course, had patients scheduled that morning. So at first, his first plan was to offer me his car, which looked like a very expensive Lexus, which had the driver's seats on the opposite side of the car of what I'm used to, and the roads on the opposite side of what I'm used to. And I don't even like driving in San Francisco. So my response to that offer was, thank you, but I don't think this is going to end well for either of us. So the second option was to hang out with him at the clinic, which actually ended up being so fun. I think that there's a lot to be said. You've brought this up before about being a lifelong learner, a lifelong student, but we don't often get a chance as attendings to just be observers and shadow our colleagues in their space. And so I spent the entire morning just observing these encounters and these very beautiful relationships with his patients who were coming to him with complex pain. And one patient in particular was a woman who I believe had experienced a bad accident and had severe pain for years, was pretty immobile on all kinds of medications, and ended up having a pain procedure by Dr. McCoy, was coming in for follow-up and walked in the door after having been, reliant on support for so long. And, this woman and her caregiver had a list of her medications, and they were going through all the different pain meds that she didn't have to take anymore. And they were so happy. And it was so cool to see that, because we don't get a lot of improved outcomes from folks with such severe pain. And so that was really heartwarming to see. The next leg of this journey was on the East Coast, where I got to see you in DC. But after that, I managed to hit a couple cities, and that included Philadelphia, Boston, New York, as we talked about. In each of these places, I got to meet up with folks that I hadn't seen in some time. And one of the more memorable experiences happened in Boston. I met up with a mentee of mine, who's actually, when I met him, he was a student at Meharry. So fourth year medical student. Shout out to Meharry.
Shout out to Mahari.
And I had randomly kind of gotten connected to him through another student that I knew. And he was applying into internal medicine. And as we've discussed before, some students are brilliant in their own right. And your job as a mentor is really just to help them gain the confidence to see how bright their light is already shining. And this student was absolutely that person. So, we worked together on his residency application and he nailed the match. He didn't go exactly where I wanted him to go, but he ended up at his number one choice and did an excellent job. But one of the things that stood out was how expressive he was about his gratitude. And he ended up sending me this really beautiful plaque that had some quotes about mentorship and then a personal message from him that said, "Thank you for believing in my dreams." And I actually hadn't seen him for years and we had never actually met in person, but I knew he was in Boston. So I was just like, let me just try sending this guy an email. And he wrote back immediately and was just like, "Can I please take you to dinner?" And we had a great dinner in Beacon Hill. It was so awesome to see him thriving. He was a chief resident,
Oh, Mahari.
Let's go, Mahari. Yes.
Mahari Maid.
Yes. Okay. Crushing it. And so we got to share a lot about both his journey and my journey as well. And, some similarities there in terms of kind of what he had been going through as a chief and, getting ready to make that transition. We were able to speak life into each other. And it was so good. And then the last part of this, of course, as we talked about last time, was in London. And, there's too much richness there for me to go into everything. But the thing I want to highlight is just, the ability to be spontaneous. So this was not a trip that I had planned. Basically, it unfolded because I was on the phone with my big brother for unrelated reasons. And he was asking me what I was doing. And I was like, I'm on the East Coast and I'm thinking about maybe since I'm there, I should try to go to Europe. But, I think I'm good on solo travel for now. I'd rather just focus on being with friends and family. And he was just like, well, I'm off that week. I'll come with you. I was like, all right, if you can get to New York, I'll meet you there and then we'll figure it out from there. I didn't know at the time that we were going to go to London. Basically, it unfolded because I read a book, Girl, Woman, Other, and it took place in London and I decided that's where we were going. But other than that, the trip was so spontaneous. Everything that we did was just kind of on the fly. And one of the highlights for me was, we were out walking one day and Calvin had actually sent me this group tour called London Walks. And I was just on my phone and I was just like, hey, they're doing a tour of hidden pubs in London. Maybe we should jump on. So we did. And as we were going on a tour of these pubs, we found out that there was a Macmillan Brewing Company that had been established since the 1800s in the UK. And so we found the nearest bar with our name on it and made sure to have drinks there and took literally hundreds of pictures. And it was the most special time I think I've had with my brother. And it was so cool the way it all unfolded.
Dope.
So, a lot of piecemeal moments here, but to just kind of to tie it back together, I had all kinds of ideas when I started the sabbatical of what the outcome was going to be, who I was going to be when I got to the month of June and what I was going to be doing. And I can say 99.9% of that did not happen according to my expectations. But the outcome at the end of the day actually wasn't the most important thing at all. It was just to be present along this journey, and every moment and every connection that was made throughout has made me a better person and has grown me in ways I couldn't have anticipated. And again, I know not everybody is in a position to just take 6 months off of work and then show back up and pick up the baton again. But, even these micro moments of surrendering to the process and just letting yourself exist outside of all of the narratives and identities that keep us kind of bogged down each day is something I plan to continue. So my sabbatical doesn't necessarily end in July because the things that I'm learning are going to be going with me going forward. So yeah.
It's funny, especially the last thing you just said. I initially cracked the joke about the the rock band Journey and the song Don't Stop Believing, but
Mm,
the reprise over and over goes, Don't stop believing, hold on to that feeling. You know, um,
wow. That's funny.
and and that's basically what you're describing, One, some of the stories that you told were stories of people believing in each other, but especially you trusting yourself enough to kind of step out on the edge and do something that you wouldn't have thought you'd do. And now, hold on to that feeling. So that, I mean, that's really cool. I mean, this has been a real courageous journey to watch you take. And I especially like the part you told about how you couldn't relax.
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, for physicians, it's really not that common for you to get more than a week of uninterrupted time. And even when you do get 2 weeks, and it's been very unusual for me to have 2 weeks in a row that are truly dedicated vacation weeks. I've had 2 weeks in a row where I didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still accessible by email. I was still doing stuff and everything. It makes me think back to when we went to South Africa and Zimbabwe that year. I had never just been off the grid for like like 2 full weeks, not responding to email, not doing anything for anybody. But that second week hit different. It felt different. I was relaxed in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that we have to kind of model that a little bit more to people, but also to ourselves to learn how to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you relax?
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about like this idea of just like existence is resistance.
Oh,
Like being able to just exist without needing to churn the wheels of productivity or be this person to this person or what have you, just to
yeah.
exist is in and of itself a form of activism.
Mm, I love that.
Mhm.
Existence is resistance. I love that.
Mhm.
I didn't take my laptop with me when we went to London. I was only gone 5 days, but I had my cell phone and I hadn't put an away message on. And there were things that, like, if I'd had my laptop, I could have worked on at night while I was there.
Mhm.
And it like kind of forced me into some, diastole or some relaxation period. And that was good for me. So I'm I'm trying to pray about this part, but I have a vacation coming up, a 2 week vacation coming up this summer. And I'm really trying to decide, should I just not take my laptop? Or at
Well,
least take it and not have it set up anywhere. Like I will need like several activation steps to be able to use it. Because what I did other times, I usually bring my laptop, I take it right out, I set it on the counter, I make sure it's connected to the Wi-Fi, and if I need like 10 minutes to work on something, I can do it in 10 minutes.
mm,
So
well, you know my answer to that question. It's
the answer is yes.
leave that ish at home.
Yes. I am at least proud of myself in that this time like for the time that I'm gone, I have somebody prepared to stand in for me to do my small group.
Mhm.
I realized that over the years, every year I would go on spring break with my kids, and I would always have small group on the Tuesday, and I would always do it over some sort of virtual format so that I could do the session.
Mhm.
Realized that what I modeled to the students was the wrong thing. I should have had somebody else come and do that session, not me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember one time doing one and I had on, I don't know what I had, and I had on beach clothes because I had on like you could tell I was sitting in the beach house. I had like a floppy hat on. I was chilling, and I was like, as soon as I get off of this call, I'm going back outside. And in my head, that was cool. But now I'm like, that shit was not cool. You should have been with your family and not interrupted this to do a 2-hour PBL on how to diagnose, a soft tissue infection. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Priorities.
But I'm getting real good at diastole.
It's a learning process.
For the people that are not doctors, when the heart beats, when it contracts, that's called systole. That's the muscle contracting. And when it relaxes, that's a diastole. So the metaphor we're using is referring to the ability to relax, but your heart does not work if it doesn't know how to relax. It doesn't know how to contract. And it took us a lot of years to understand that. We used to only think that heart failure, the heart was failing if it couldn't contract right. Not paying attention to the fact that all of these people out here suffering because they contract just fine. They just don't know how to relax. So I wish I had time to talk about how a lot of us are very good at contracting. We can flex a muscle all day long, but we don't know how to relax. And that's a word for myself because I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I'm working on that. I'm working on what it will look like to relax. I allow myself to think about, when will I retire? When will it not be essential to my job? When will my focus be just my family and me and my well-being? Like, when will that be? And if you don't allow yourself to even entertain thoughts like that, you just contract. And then the people around you that look up to you, they think that success looks like contraction only with no relaxation.
Might just cut my story out and just leave that snippet in for.
Leave your story. We got to hear people get inspired by an associate professor took 6 months off, and those 6 months are going to make you a better doctor.
Thank you, sis.
You know that's true.
Yeah.
Well, it is 2026, and I believe we started this journey in 2021.
5 years.
5 years, 10 seasons, and not having any idea what we were doing, but building something. They say building, they will come. I'm proud of us for the courage it took to do this.
I'm proud of us too.
And sticking with it.
Absolutely. Man, life-changing.
Yeah, man. Lives, deaths in our families. Don't even have my puppy no more sticking his head in here.
Yeah.
Kids are out of the house.
Kids in college.
You booed up.
Yep. Shout out to my girl.
Yes, shout out to her. That beautiful lady. But yeah, we still here, man, plugging along, and we appreciate everybody who's plugged along with us.
Amen.
Well, sis, I wish you all the joy during this little break until you tell us if we gonna have a season 11. I imagine that your break will go beyond July 1st. So I want to say to all of our new interns out there getting ready to become doctors, shout out to you, but a special shout out to Dr. Ashley McMullen, who will be returning to teach the youth very soon.
Yes. I look forward to it. Yep. Sis, it has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for being on this journey with me.
Yep.
It would not have been the same without you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you hanging out with a 55-year-old lady.
I mean, she's pretty cool, She
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sis, you be easy, but I will be having some unrecorded convos with you in the interim.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, girl. I love you.
Love you too. That wraps up this week's episode of the Human Doctor Podcast.
Special thanks to our favorite brother gastroenterologist, Dr. Chuma Obiname, for the beats. Shout out to the Dr. Ashley McMullen for editing and production.
Mad love to our podcast family at The Nocturnist and the Clinical Problem Solvers, our Med Twitter fam.
And especially shout out to all of you, our listeners.
Until next week, remember,
we see you and you are enough. Holla!